covering reflective time management for students. Reflective time management is something that is not typically thought about by students, really. And it's a very important practice that you can get into that will help you become a better student and become better at time management. Because what it does is it allows you the opportunity to basically grade yourself for how you did with time management on the previous term or the previous assignment or the previous week, however you want to break it out. It's going to help you take a look at what you did and see how you can make improvements. So, very important to remember at the end of the course, don't just take your course grade and say, hey, I did great, or I'll just do better next time if you didn't do as good as you wanted to. You really want to start to ask yourself at the end of each course if time management played a role in your grade. And I'm going to tell you more often than not, it usually does. So, how does that work? If you got a bad grade, some things you want to ask yourself, or even a grade that was good, but just not where you wanted it to be, did you run out of time to get the assignments done that you needed to get done? Okay. Did you miss things because you were in a rush? So was the work you were submitting something that really wasn't up to your typical standard or wasn't as good as it could have been, right? Or was it just a point that maybe you didn't give yourself enough time for the course you're in? So maybe there was work there that was harder than you anticipated. So for you as a student, it's important to gauge and see how much time you need to successfully complete each course. Um, and that may be something that you take a look at earlier in the term. So maybe you look each week and say, hey, I'm just scrambling to get this stuff done. I'm barely making it. My grades aren't that good. That may mean that for the following weeks in the term, you need to give yourself a little bit more time to get these assignments done. So you can also do reflective time management as you move along in the term. For good grades, did you scramble to get things done at the last minute? This is a very important thing. Somebody could be a very good student and getting good grades in a course, or maybe you were able to do a course that maybe you found a little bit easier and you were struggling to get stuff in on time. That could be a problem still, because what that does is that now forms a habit where you are just barely getting the work done on time. And even though you did well in the coursework, maybe it's going to hurt you when you get into a more difficult course if you keep up this behavior. The other thing to think about is maybe you could have done better, right? Maybe you got a B plus and you're like, oh, great, I got a B plus. That's wonderful. Maybe you could have gotten an A if you spent a little bit more time doing some preparation work for the assignment. Maybe if you had submitted the assignment earlier or had been prepared to submit it earlier and had a time to reread or reflect on things. This could have helped you out potentially and given you a better grade. So definitely something to think about there. Just because you got a good grade does not necessarily mean that you did a good job with time management, right? What can you do to improve your time management? Well, we talked about some of those things already, right? We talked about better planning, making sure you get in there and really create a good, solid calendar and a solid plan for your coursework. How are you going to accomplish getting the grade that you want in your courses? Do you need to spend more time there, right? Do you need to take care of the most important and time sensitive things first in your schedule? Yes. So what you need to do there is start to think about, okay, you have things that you just have to do, right? You have things like work. You have things like spending time with your family. Maybe you have daily obligations that you just have to do. Or important things that help keep your calendar on pace, like getting repairs done to your car or your health, right? Making sure you go to the doctors when you have to, things like that. So those are things that I call non-negotiable events. Those are things that you really can't change in your schedule. And those are some of those things are time sensitive, and some of those things are very important and have to get done right away. Then there's other things. There's things like negotiable events, right? There's social events. There's community work that you do, maybe things like that, maybe something that's negotiable for you, right? So maybe, there's times with your family that you go to the movies. Maybe you don't have time for some of those, for some of your busier weeks to go to the movies. That's not to say don't spend time with your family. Maybe it's find other ways to spend time with them. Um, and also just kind of think about what things are most important to you. There's a lot of people that go to church and have religious events. Those may be something that's non-negotiable for you. So you really have to determine what is most important in your life. Focus on those things first, and then start to figure out how you're going to fit schoolwork in there, keeping in mind that you do have time-sensitive things at school that need to be accomplished in the time that's allotted. And another final consideration for you too, you may want to look if you've done your reflective time management and you see that you just can't fit in everything that you have to, and you're just having a big problem with it. It may be a good idea for you to consider taking courses part-time versus full-time for your course load. This may ensure you have the best chance at success, at least temporarily. Some of you that are newer students may be in 2 classes, and it may be difficult for you to navigate 2 classes in your schedules. There may be some of you that are doing great at it. So you just need to figure out what that is. And then if you feel like maybe if you took a course off, you might have an easier time going only 1 course at a time to be able to be successful. That's something you need to speak with your advisor about, and something you need to talk to your financial aid team about as well. As we always like to say at the end of these workshops, very important, if you have any questions at any time or you need any assistance at all, please contact your advisor at 203-568-1652. Thank you.